Tonight I discovered something in the southernmost portion of Arizona, near the border of Arizona and Mexico, in the western portion of that border. This is what I discovered. This is a huge prison complex, fully operational. People living there. First of all, there is a road that goes around the entire complex, lined with a fence that goes around the entire complex. Inside that fence and road, there's another road that goes around this portion of the complex. This is portion number 1. Inside that road is another fence line, and when you take a look at the fence line, you realize it is bent inward with barbed wire. Very high and bent inward toward the facility, meaning this fence is not to keep people out, it is not to keep people safe, it is to keep people in. That automatically makes it a prison. We have light and camera all along in between this fence line and this barbed wire fence line, which is the basic layout of a prison. Part 1 of the complex, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a center building with one large field in the middle. All of the buildings seem to be fairly well equipped. They have central air units on the outsides of the buildings, very bright LED lighting in the yard, and of course lots of guard shacks in the yard and around the entire facility. Look at part 2. It's very different. In this part of the facility, we see outside cages where people can go if they've gotten in scuffles and so forth. Their outside time is spent in a cage. And each one of these barracks has its own fenced-in yard. In area number 3, it would seem to be a little lesser punishment. We have basketball courts. This one actually has people on it. Guard shacks, baseball diamond. Each building has its own fenced-in area, as well as the main yard. This is a massive prison facility. I would say this one is really high-tech. Very high-tech prison facility. I'll show you where the workers live. A little bit more luxurious, with swimming pools here and other recreational facilities and satellite TV. And all of these things didn't really bother me. I saw a lot of Fema vehicles. That concerned me. Now this is one thing that concerned me. Not just buses for the inmates, but lots of Fema vehicles. These appear to be Fema vehicles, and we find them throughout the facility, driving around the area, Fema vehicles. Like that. Lots and lots of Fema vehicles. Both prisoner transport vehicles that are Fema and individual agent vehicles. That concerned me. Number one, this facility is not listed among the prisons in Arizona, though it is a very prominent prison out in the middle of the desert east of Yuma, Arizona. Now, associated with this prison, across the road are these very strange fields. When I looked at them, they're pits of some sort, fairly deep, I'd say about 6 feet deep or so, 8 down and 8 across, with some in the middle, with a huge long pit in the middle, so deep that water has seeped into it. In the middle of these pits is what I believe to be a killing field. This is what disturbed me more than anything else. One of these pits that has been dug down into has a fence around the entire pit. It's an entire pit, just open, where you could bring a great many people to stand around. There's no place to sit. There's no place for recreation. There's no one digging there. The only thing in this pit, besides one lamp giving light to only this area of the pit, is this structure. Now realize this is smaller than one of those Fema vehicles. That's how zoomed in we are. This is about the size of a Fema bus. It's not as tall as this light outside the fence line that is showing only on this area. Now as we zoom in a little bit, we see this structure laying down flat. This is a platform. This is a light with a shadow. In front of this platform is another pit, a spill pit. What we see right here seems to be a slab, perhaps a slab a person could lay on for punishment. The only punishment, it seems to me, that could be meted in this great huge field with nothing but standing room, one light, one instrument of torture or death, would be a guillotine. This looks like the plank the person lays on. It turns down and is pushed into the guillotine. The person's head goes here, and if you look down on the ground already, it would seem that this may have already been used once or twice. Where are the bodies? Perhaps they have already been packaged. Now we have in this country states that allow beheading as part of capital punishment as a choice for the person who is being punished so that their organs can be saved for transplantation. Arizona is not one of those states. Lethal injection for persons sentenced after 11/15/92, and those sentenced before that date may select lethal injection or lethal gas. Those are the only two forms of capital punishment Arizona offers, which tells me that there's a reason why this prison is not on the map as far as being a state prison in Arizona. It's not even listed as a prison. It's just there. Let me introduce